Okay, hi, I'm David Weir from the Glasgow PEPASS team, putting your questions to some sportsmen and women across the city and across Scotland while you're home learning. So, a few thanks to say first before we get started. Thanks to Miss Linda Weir at St Francis of Assisi Primary School for setting this up, getting the guys involved. It was originally her idea, so PEPASS have just helped a little bit by getting it a bit more city-wide and get some more schools involved. And thanks to all of you that have sent in your questions. And let's meet the guests that we're going to be talking to today.
Hi guys, my name's Adam Ashe and I'm a rugby player at the Glasgow Warriors rugby team. I'm 26 years old. I've been at the Glasgow Warriors for quite a while now. I think this will be my 8th year. So yeah, I live here in the city centre in Glasgow, and yeah, I'm currently stuck inside like the rest of you guys just now. So here to answer your questions and looking forward to it.
Hi guys, it's Darcy Ray here. I'm a tight head prop for Glasgow Warriors. I've been there not quite as long as Ashe. I was there, been there professionally 5-6 years, and I'm staying out in the West End. And luckily, I've got a nice garden opposed to Ashe, which I've been in for a couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks guys. Right, so we've got a whole range of questions, just from different pupils at different schools. Some of them are quite similar, but to try and give some credit, I'll shout out the schools that they came from. Adam, I'll maybe just give you a question and then we'll go to Darcy after that with a different one. But if either of you want to actually step in with your own answer to the question, then feel free to do so. All right, quite happy with that?
No, absolutely.
Spot on.
Okay, brilliant. So the first questions that we've got are a little bit about when you started being a rugby player. So we had P7, St Francis of Assisi pupil. We've got an S3, Shawlands Academy pupil. We've got a Holyrood secondary pupil. And we actually went outside Glasgow and we've got a P6 from St Helens Primary in Bishop Briggs. So the question, Adam, if you want to start with this one, is have you been playing, or how long have you been playing since you were younger? And was rugby, being a rugby player, your dream job?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I started playing rugby when I was 6 years old. My dad took me along to the local rugby club, which was about a mile along from my parents' house. They still live there at the moment. A rugby club called Hillfoots, and which is just outside Stirling. And I started playing rugby there. Actually, a lot of the friends that I still see and some of the guys that I still play with originated from that team, so that was pretty cool. So I played for a few years, and then as time went on, ended up getting involved in some other sports, so things like football, golf, athletics, swimming, these kinds of things, and ended up stopping rugby for a while. And then when I was 14, I went back to rugby. My PE teacher at school said to me, "What are you doing playing for the football team? You're a big lad, you should be playing in the rugby team." So I went back to play for Hillfoots and then played a few games for the school. And as time went on, I just I really enjoyed it and was loving it. So I went to play for Stirling County, which is my team that I kind of came right through before joining the Glasgow Warriors. So yeah, I've from a young age, I was quite interested in rugby and really enjoyed it. And I guess from about the age of 15, I was pretty sure that I wanted to be a professional rugby player. So yeah, I guess it has been a little bit of a dream since I was a teenager anyway, that was for sure. But to be honest, before I was 16, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just found myself doing a lot of the things that I enjoyed, which were mainly sport focused, and things kind of transpired from there, and rugby ended up kind of forming a pathway, and I was lucky enough to be involved in the professional game.
Great, thanks Adam. Darcy, I'll put the next question to you, if that's all right. There was quite a few questions about inspiration. So we got a P7 pupil from St Francis of Assisi, a P7 pupil from St Michael's, a P6 from Notre Dame, and an S5 from Shawlands, and they were interested if anybody in particular or anything inspired you to play rugby.
I must admit, probably out of rugby, most inspiration was my dad, because he was pretty high up rugby player and stuff, and never quite made it. Got injured quite young. I never got to see him play. But he coached me from pretty much the same age as Ashe, like 6 years old, right up to P7, I think it was, and then I went to secondary school, and then he stopped coaching and stuff. But then he was literally just day in, day out, rugby mad, and like Ashe knows my dad from now. He is rugby daft. He probably knows more about rugby than me. But yeah, he's pretty much been my inspiration.
Brilliant.
But as a wee boy, I remember going down to watch Glasgow Warriors v Saracens in the old stadium down in London somewhere, and we got the flight back. And the flight back, we were sitting behind all the Glasgow Warriors, were all just in the like normal seats, and I got past the suite from Ewan Murray, and ended up getting his autograph and all that kind of stuff. And ever since then, he was my hero when I was growing up. So I was like, oh, Ewan Murray. So yeah, he was my hero on the pitch, I guess. And I always remember him telling me walking off the plane, eat more fish or something like that, something daft and that. And ever since then, I was like telling him, fish and rice cake pretty much. But yeah, it was good. It was good fun. That's probably my two inspirations, I'd say.
I don't know if that ever really passes that experience of sitting behind sportsmen or women, because I saw you guys. I was down in Cardiff for a lads' weekend last year. And you guys were playing Cardiff that weekend, and you ended up on the same flight back up the road as me. So it was kind of, I was messaging Linda saying, "There's the Warriors guys." So I think that ever really.
A wee boy as well. Especially when you're a wee boy, you're just like that. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam, just Darcy was talking a wee bit about the inspiration perhaps outside rugby. There was a question specifically from a P7 pupil at St Michael's who wanted to know who your inspiration was, and perhaps you could maybe give us a wee bit of somebody outside rugby if you had somebody.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot of people that I think are quite inspirational outside rugby. So probably my favourite person outside of rugby would be, I'm trying to think who I would put. So I've got like, I'm quite strange in a way where I like things that like probably most people my age don't. So like one of my, for instance, St Francis, he's actually I know quite a lot of you guys go to that school. He's a big inspiration of mine. I really like reading some of his work, and I think he was a really wise person. So I find him quite inspirational. You know, guys like, I don't know, your kind of football players, people like David Beckham, who have achieved so much in their life, and you know, are going on to do different things now, and have moved out of their initial career as a player onto bigger things, and just people that generally carry themselves well and are quite hungry to do cool things in the world. So yeah, I'd say like, because quite a lot of athletes, like I like LeBron James. I think he's like he's been another guy who's achieved so much in his sport, and you know, he's hungry to keep going, and he's really driven to continue improving and whatever it may be in his life, not just his sport. And I guess he's got quite a broad outlook on things. I think that's quite inspirational. So yeah, guys like that.
Yeah, it's really good for a lot of our pupils to hear about inspirations both within sport and outside sport, you know, because if they are dedicated to playing sport, then yeah, it's great to have those inspiring people within that sport. But you know, a lot of times people outside the sport as well can be inspirational to try and the way you conduct yourself, you know, the way that you play the game, the way you train, whatever. Yeah, so it's good to hear about those people outside it.
I think as a younger person, I definitely had more. You know, when I think about the inspirational people in my life, it would be people in rugby. You know, maybe players that were 10, 15 years older than me. Some guys that I actually eventually even played with. Like one of the guys that inspired me as a younger rugby player was Johnny Beattie, and he's recently retired. But when I first joined the Glasgow Warriors, he was actually still there, so it was pretty cool to be playing in the same team as one of my big inspirations as a kid. But I guess as I've got a little bit older, you know, you learn about different things, and you kind of open up to different things in life, and that changes. But you know, yeah, it's an interesting question. There's probably so many people out there that inspire you. You know, it could just be like something as simple as the seeing what the NHS are doing just now, all the nurses, all the doctors, and that kind of thing. That's pretty cool to see. So yeah, I don't think you have to look too far to find inspiration.
Yeah. Adam, you had mentioned earlier on about some of the sports that you already do. So Darcy, I'll put this question to you if that's all right.
Yeah, all right.
P7 from St Francis of Assisi and P6 from St Helens Bishop Briggs. We're interested in, do you play any other sports? Do you wish you did a different sport as a job? Or what would you be if you were not a rugby player?
If I wasn't a rugby player, I'd probably be something daft. I'd probably be in the army or the Marines or something. Cause I always said to my mum I'd join that up. When I was a young boy, I wanted to be a marine biologist. Pretty random job, I know, but that's what I wanted to be. So maybe one of them. Other sports, when I was growing up, down Troon, just to muck about down the beach, or the bikes and all that kind of stuff. Bit of scuba diving, bit of walking. Tried to play football once, got told not to come back because I took the captain out. studs up sort of situation.
You wouldn't fancy any other sport then as a job, no?
As a job, probably wouldn't mind being a goalkeeper or something, I guess. But I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. Esports, get in the gaming. No, I don't know. That's pretty much me.
There was quite a lot of questions regarding your training regime. So, Adam, I'll come back to you for the first one of these ones, if that's all right. We had pupils from Holyrood Secondary, we had pupils from St Michael's, we had pupils from St Francis's Primary in Gorbals, and a pupil from Shawlands Academy. So they were all interested in how much training do you do per week in order to be physically fit enough to perform in each game? Also, how often do you train or practice each week? And then what kind of training procedures do you participate in, particularly before playing matches?
Okay, yeah, so that is, I'll answer a couple of those questions. You might need to repeat the last one because my memory's not that good, but I'll, yeah, so normally just now we're not actually training at all, obviously. We've all been given programs that we can do at home, either down in the local park, or there's some workouts you can do in the house. But in a normal week, we'll train on Monday, so we'll turn up at probably 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a weight session, and then we'll go into like probably a meeting, and then after that we might go outside, and the forwards and backs will split. So in rugby there's like two different units. The forwards will do some scrummaging, some line out work, and then the backs will go and do running through some of the plays and more passing type skills. So and then after that we'll normally go, we might have lunch, and then that'll be at like kind of 12:30, and in the afternoon we'll go out and do a team session together that will probably last about an hour. So it's normally 3 or 4 sessions a day. That'll be on Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday we'll be off. The team usually get a day off during the week just to help the body recover, because that's probably an even bigger part of the training, is actually because rugby is such a physical game. You have to allow your body to recover. If you don't, then you're probably more likely to pick up an injury, or your body will start breaking down on you. So Wednesday will be the day off. Thursday we'll train from about 9 in the morning till about lunchtime, and that will be a kind of similar day to Tuesday. So it'll be gym in the morning, then line out, scrums, and then maybe a team session in the afternoon. Then Friday will be a short day, so it maybe be 2 hours in the morning, just be doing final preparations before, say, if the game's on a Saturday night. And then on the day of the game, it's actually, we just have the full day off. So if it's a 7:30 kickoff at night, we'll all just be, in our houses doing our own thing. Some guys like to go out for a walk. Some guys might go and get a coffee or get some food. Everybody has their different ways of preparing for a game. But yeah, the game day is just up to you, what you want to do. What was the other question? Did I manage to answer them all?
I think you managed to do pretty well there. You managed to cover it all.
Yeah, not bad.
Good. Memory's not quite as bad as you think, maybe. Darcy, I'll come to you then next for the next question, if that's okay. We had P7 pupils from St Michael's, P7 from St Francis of Assisi, and an S2 from Shawlands Academy. and they were interested in knowing a wee bit about maybe how hard it is training on in self-isolation at the moment and what you're doing to stay fit, but also what's generally the hardest part of training and playing rugby.
Well, right now I think it's not even motivation. It's just trying to make sure you're doing it. It's quite hard because you only can go out like once a day. So you go for a run, that's you kind of done. But if you go in the garden or something stuff like that, you can do like circuits. That's what I've been doing recently, like burpees and all the rest. Just run about the garden like a dafty. But yeah, I find the hardest thing is probably, especially now, is like keeping the focus, because obviously the news is going about something. Twitter's going mad, Instagram's going mad, everyone's social media, all the rest, all about the coronavirus, and it's quite hard just to focus yourself to go like, right, I still need to be fit, see and still keep things happening, blah 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 blah, etc etc.
Yeah.
But during the week, in a normal week, the hardest thing about training is probably
trying not to hurt people from you.
That's what I'm trying to think. I was like, I'm usually training, I don't mind training as much. Probably just more repeated efforts sort of thing. Like make sure you're switched on all the time.
Yeah.
So a session can go on for. So like Adam said, on the Thursday we usually have a big session in the morning. So we're down usually in Motherwell. We train indoors. We usually get there for about 7 for a meeting. Meeting starts at 7, and train pretty much bang 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 straight away, and to keep the focus the whole time. And to keep like your head on and all the rest and not lose the head is probably the hardest. I find anyway the hardest is to make sure the focus is still and the concentration is there.
Okay, thanks for that.
No worries.
Adam, I'll come back to you for the next one then, if that's all right. So S3 Holyrood Secondary, and actually another people from Holyrood Secondary as well, they're interested in what keeps you entertained or going at the moment during lockdown, and what do you think is the best way to try and stay active during all of this?
Yeah, good question. So just now, I've got quite a lot of other stuff going on outside the rugby, so I managed to keep myself pretty much busy with that. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm probably a lot busier now than I am normally when we're playing rugby and whatnot, because I find that I'm able to. I run a business. It's a health supplement business outside of rugby. And now that I'm in the house all day, I find I'm actually doing a lot more work with that. So I'm constantly on the phone to people, I'm emailing, or updating the website, etc. So that's really keeping me occupied. What I'm making sure that I do every day is I stay quite near Glasgow Green, which is a park, and I go down there and I either do some training, or I'll go for like a 10-kilometre walk or something, which will take about an hour and a half, which is really nice. I enjoy that part of the day. Just get out, get some fresh air, and just enjoy being outside. And then normally at night, what I've been doing for the last probably week is I've been watching Netflix, which is something I don't normally do. So myself and my girlfriend, we've just been watching Netflix at night, which has been really nice. It's just, I find it's just quite a good way to completely switch off from the day. You know, you're thinking about these things and you're getting all the work done and you've constantly got things on your mind, and it's just quite nice to just completely switch off at night, and get lost in a documentary or a movie or whatever it may be. So that's probably the main things, and I've been doing a little bit of reading as well, if I can manage to fit that in, and a bit of cooking as well, to be honest with you. Like I'm not normally one for cooking food, because if we're training, normally we get our breakfast in the morning and then we'll get lunch as well, and then I'll come home at night, and normally most of the food that I eat is like, it's prep meal. So you just basically use like a food prep company, and they deliver the food to your house. You just heat it up in the microwave. So I do a lot of that, but recently I've had to be cooking breakfast, lunch and dinner, which is actually, when you have the time, it's quite nice. It's quite enjoyable to actually have to prepare all your food and make sure that you're eating healthy.
Yeah, it's like Darcy was saying, quite hard to focus with a lot of the news going on as well. It's quite nice just to chill out and focus on something else, isn't it? Take your mind off it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Darcy, I'll come back to you for the next one then, if that's all right.
No worries.
Now, as a family show, so you might have to kind of be careful with some of these answers here. P7 from St Michael's and P6 from St Helens. We're interested in any bad injuries that you've had, and maybe what's the sorest thing that you've ever had happen to you in the rugby field?
Sorest thing is probably quite an obvious one. Probably shouldn't say it though.
Yeah.
The crown jewels as such.
You can maybe get away with just that. That's it.
That's it. I'll do that one. But then probably the most annoying, frustrating one for me happened quite recently. Happened at November, literally last day of November, 31st November, what it was. And I done my pinky. It's working now, but I completely took out the ligaments out of it, and the ligaments down here somewhere. I had to have an operation on this, and I thought, all right, it'll just be fixed back on and happy days. But nah. 3 months later, still out of the game, sort of thing. So I managed to make it back for a game just before the break, and then the coronavirus hit. So I managed to get back for a game before. But that was probably the most frustrating one, because it was the most smallest thing. You think that wee thing there takes you out of the game for 3 to 4 months, and I'm just like.
You hear that a lot from athletes talking about the frustrations of being on the sidelines and not being 100%. Able to take part. So it must be difficult, 100%,
yeah. But at the same time from that, you focus on other things. Like you start running for running's sake, and I'm not particularly a runner, but it's all right. You end up
just doing what you can do.
Exactly. It's the same as this coronavirus thing as well, isn't it? In the house, you do what you can do.
Yeah.
You do some press ups, you do some sit ups, you do some burpees, whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Keep you going.
Adam, I'll come to you for the next question. Similar to Darcy, though, you'll probably need to be careful about how you answer this one. I have a feeling that the P6 pupil from Notre Dame might be a bit of a wrestling fan, because they were interested in what you would do if another player was trying to spear you. But I suppose maybe the best way to answer that question is just, how do you deal with perhaps unsportsmanlike conduct on the field?
I guess, generally speaking, as rugby players, most of us understand that, if somebody's being difficult on the field, there's a really limited amount that you can do, because there's rules and there's regulations, and the referees police it all very closely. And you have a referee on the field, but you also have 2 referees that are on the side of the field who are looking at everything you're doing.
TMO.
Yeah, so there's no escaping being seen doing things and whatnot. So most of the time, if somebody's being mouthing off or whatever, there's a chance that you might say something back in the moment, or you might get into a little bit of a scuffle or whatever. But I don't think people go about looking for that. It's something that happens quite spontaneously, and I think in a contact sport, it's actually quite a natural thing that stuff like that happens quite a lot. I think the most important thing is that people aren't being malicious or trying to hurt anybody in a serious way, because of course in a contact game, there can be injuries and there can be dangers to it. So I think you have to try and play the game fairly, and if somebody's not, the chances are the referee's going to pick it up. And equally, occasionally there can be a little scuffle, but more often than not, it's just a little pushing match, and there's nothing actually that serious that happens.
Yeah. Anytime that we work with pupils, we're always talking about those learning experiences, that situations might happen. You might do something in the heat of the moment that you might not typically be your character, but if you can use that then as a learning experience, then you just put it down to that, don't you? And you kind of hope that it's not a regular thing for a lot of people taking part in these games.
Yeah, definitely. It's so true. When you start playing rugby, quite often, because of the nature of the game, certainly when you get to your kind of teenage years, sometimes you do see, maybe a player lashing out, or, a little sort of fight happening or whatever. But normally what you see is as players start to become a bit more experienced, is that they start to learn from these things, and they start to understand that actually, they don't have to necessarily behave like that. And, that's a natural thing. It's definitely an opportunity to learn, as you say. So, yeah, it's good.
Okay, we've just got a couple more to go, and they're getting a wee bit shorter, which you'll be pleased to know. P7 pupil at St Michael's. Darcy, if you want to take this one, what's your greatest success in a game, or maybe even your greatest success in your career so far?
Probably getting my first cap, I must admit. That was pretty special. Against Ireland last year, the whole family and stuff were there. The whole extended family were there. And I ended up getting an award from my local club back home, because I was one of only 4 people to play for Scotland from Mar. So yeah, it was pretty special for the club, for my family, and yeah.
I would imagine that regardless of where you are in your sport, probably being called up for your country's got to be the greatest thing possibly to happen.
100%. 100%. Even though it was a bit deflating and we lost, but it was still pretty special.
Yeah. Adam, this one's for you then. P7 pupil in St Michael's their question was how many stadiums have you played in, but I suppose maybe just going with what's the toughest stadium that you've played in?
Oh, so the toughest one. This is quite an easy answer for me, I'd say. So my first cap playing for Scotland, which was in South Africa, in Port Elizabeth. It was my first game. I'd been called up quite surprisingly, to be honest, because there had been quite a few injuries in the squad, and I was 20 years old, and I was actually in New Zealand at the time playing rugby out there. Scottish rugby had been lucky enough to be sent out there on a scholarship, so I was playing out there, but it wasn't like a high level. It was just kind of club rugby, like almost like your kind of Sunday league type stuff that you maybe see in the park. And then I managed to get called up to the Scotland tour, and they were in South Africa, and we played against South Africa that week, and it turned out that I was starting the game. And we were playing in a stadium called the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium, and it was absolutely full. There must have been about 50 or 60,000 people there. It was really warm, 25 degrees. I was so nervous. It was my first game for Scotland. I was so proud at the same time to be getting the opportunity to do it. And to be honest with you, I thoroughly enjoyed the game, but we ended up losing by 50 points. So it was quite a hard game for us. And obviously we had, you remember, it was.
I remember you getting the call up.
It was a really crazy time. They had South Africa. They had a full strength team out. Literally 1 to 15 was their starting players. In Scotland, we had quite a few injuries. We had a lot of players that had to go back home for various reasons. And it was really a kind of second or third string team. And yeah, it wasn't a good day at the office for us, but it was still an amazing occasion to get the opportunity to play for Scotland, and to play in front of that crowd was amazing as well.
Yeah. Well, we've got one more question before I give you a little bit of a challenge that went out to the pupils online. So you can answer this question with a yes, no, or no comment, because it's quite a difficult one.
Right. Okay.
E6 at St Helens would like to know, are you friends with everyone in the rugby team?
Aye.
Adam's gone quiet. He's just going no comment, Adam.
You got quiet, didn't you?
Is that a one-word answer? Elaborate.
Elaborate if you want, yeah.
All right, so I'll elaborate. Majority of the time, yeah. I mean, I'd say most people get on with most people, but naturally, like you probably will find this at school as well. You do have your friend group who you maybe would naturally gravitate towards, and you enjoy spending time with them. But because there's like 50 guys in a rugby team, you have different relationships. You might be close to like 5 or 6 guys, but then you're still really familiar with the rest of the people, and you could have a conversation with them, and you could go for a coffee with them. But everybody has their own little kind of group of friends, and that's just the way it works. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's nobody in the team that I don't like. Obviously there's times where you might have a disagreement with somebody, or you might feel a bit annoyed at somebody or whatever. But these things aren't normally held in place for long, and before you know it, everybody's kind of laughing and joking again.
I wasn't going to force you into any kind of like elaboration on anything, but the point that you made about similarities to schools is something that we used to talk about as a teacher. It was like, you don't have to, not everybody has to be your best friend, but you have to work together, in order to be successful. So yeah, that was a good comparison.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay, just a couple of other things then, because the pupils were given a bit of a challenge online, so I thought I'd put it to you guys to see if you knew the answers to these ones. So first question that they were given was, how many appearances for the Warriors do you guys have together? So what do you think, Adam? When do you think you and Darcy have got together?
Right, I'm going to say 148.
Right, Darcy, you going for something similar?
148.
Together, add them together. Me and you.
Oh, yourself. I was like, 148 yourself. Oh, very good. Aye. Good. Sorry, I'm rubbish at maths. 70 plus. Okay. Yeah, cool. 148. Yeah,
higher or lower?
Yeah. I take that because it's wrong.
I'd
It's
go
actually
lower.
144.
144, is it?
Yeah.
What?
Not bad. The second question that they got was, from the current squad, who's got the most appearances?
Oh, easy, Rob Harley.
Yep. Bonus question then, do you know how many he's got?
220.
40,
Is it 240 now?
According to the website, 230.
Oh, you were close, Darcy.
In between. So.
And the last question that they were posed was, in the 34-19 victory over Dragons, how many points did Pete Horn score?
35.
21. 21.
Yeah, 21.
He scored 9 points.
Oh, right. Oh.
Okay.
Trick question.
Okay, remember.
3 conversions and a penalty.
Alright, fair enough.
So, listen, just to say thanks very much for this. You've given loads of answers, including things to cope with in coronavirus times and what it's like to be a rugby player, what it's like to train teammates and all that kind of stuff. So, if you just want to kind of say cheerio or whatever, any messages that you want to give to the pupils before we go, and then we'll just finish off there.
Yeah, you go first, Darcy.
I just want to say cheers for all the questions, and quite a lot of questions coming through, quite similar, but it's all good. Hope we answered them well enough for you, and stay safe, stay inside, get some burpees done like me.
Thanks, Darcy.
Enjoy. No worries.
Yeah, no, I'll say the same. Just thanks for getting all these great questions for us. It's good for us as well to keep our minds thinking and answer your questions,
100%.
which is brilliant. So, make the most of your time off school. If you've got a chance to learn some stuff at home, do that, and maybe enjoy some other hobbies and things that you like doing, and make sure you enjoy yourself. And it's something different, but I'm sure we'll be back to normal in a few weeks' time or whatever. So, stay safe and thanks for having us.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
No worries. Cheers again.
Thanks.
See you later.